All right, we're going to get started now. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Elaine Christian. I'm a Sustainability Program Coordinator with the City of West Palm Beach Office of Sustainability. And we are so thrilled to be partnering with Surfrider for today's presentation on ocean-friendly gardens to learn so much about what the program is, what they're doing, and also to get to your questions and answers at the end. So if you do have any questions throughout this presentation, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A, and we will get to them at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Jamie, who is the chair of Surfrider Foundation.
Morning, afternoon, hi. So thankfully, I'm Jamie. I'm the chair of the Palm Beach County chapter of the Surfrider Foundation. And I'm going to pull up my screen real fast. Let me see. Oh, I gotta share it first, actually. Share. Here we go. There we go. Continue. Sorry, quick hold.
That's okay. Jamie has a great presentation, you guys, so we're so excited to share all of the information that she has and see her super creative presentation today.
Yeah, I found a way to have a virtual garden. I was really excited about that. So hopefully this is gonna work. Here we go, much better. And away we go. Sorry, just did this. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, hold on a minute. If you haven't guessed yet, this is a new thing that I'm trying. Yay, nope. There we go. Okay, woohoo.
Awesome.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, I'm with the Surfrider Foundation, or at least I'm in the Palm Beach County chapter of Surfrider. If you're not familiar with Surfrider Foundation, we are an environmental nonprofit. We are grassroots run, which means we are all volunteers in these chapters. And we are dedicated to the protection and enjoyment of the world's oceans, waves, and beaches for all people through a powerful activist network. So in Palm Beach County, we have, as Surfrider as a whole has 4 main programs that we focus on. So you have your Blue Water Task Force program, your Ocean Friendly Restaurants program, Rise Above Plastics, and like we're talking about today, our Ocean Friendly Gardens program. But each chapter gets to decide what they're going to do, kind of focus on their own. So in Palm Beach County, our main focus is water quality and plastic pollution. So a lot of our water quality deals with, like you're seeing on the screen, any raw sewage spills that are happening around the county. We try to give out alerts on those. We have our Blue Water Task Force program, where our volunteers will go and gather samples down at the water's edge, like you're seeing here, and they will actually bring the samples back to high school students that we're partnering with, and they will take the samples and process them for us. So it's a really great program. It's been going strong for the last, I think it's 3 years now. Really excited about that. The chapter also does a lot of lobbying. In this picture, you'll see we were in the Florida State Capitol about 2 years ago, lobbying for plastic pollution bill that unfortunately didn't get passed, but we're gonna keep pushing, it's fine. So we do a lot of work with our local and our federal elected officials. So if you guys are ever worried or wondering what you can do to volunteer, that's one of the things that we do with the chapter. And we also do beach cleanups, which I'm sure everyone is very familiar with by now. They're a great tool, a great asset to show people the pollution that's out on the ocean, or in the ocean and washing up on the beach. You get a chance to have this kind of personal connection with the beach and this personal connection to becoming an activist or a conservationist. So we do a lot of those beach cleanups, not so much during COVID now, but we're going to, slowly but surely increase those cleanups as the time goes on. And we're always encouraging everyone to do solo beach cleanups in case you don't already do those when you're walking down the beach. And we do actually try to partner with the Beach Bucket Foundation, who in certain areas in the county already have like 4, I think it is, buckets available for people to use while they're out at the beach, just kind of hanging out. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell. So we're focusing on today is our Ocean Friendly Gardens program. So let's jump right in. So what exactly is an ocean friendly garden? So an ocean friendly garden applies what is coming to be known around the country as the watershed approach. The principles are pretty much the same. They have healthy living soil that retains rainwater, you use native plants, and you have efficient supplemental irrigation as needed. Ocean Friendly Gardens accomplishes all of this by applying what Surfrider calls CPR. So you are conserving, it's conservation of water, energy, and habitat. It's also permeability, or soil that is, you build up the soil that allows the water to slow down and sink in, kind of like a sponge, instead of having kind of hard packed soil where the water doesn't sink in and just rolls right out off of your lawn. And the third part to CPR is retention. So you want to retain that rainwater, which will eventually prevent urban runoff. Like you see here in this garden, we're going to get to this later too, it actually is an ocean-friendly garden that Surfrider California worked on, and they added in these little retention areas you see that are holding that water in so that it can be soaked back up by the garden, kind of recycled in a sense. And like I said before, so we're preventing urban runoff. That really is kind of the main focus of ocean friendly gardens. So if you're wondering what urban runoff is, you're not alone. And if you're guessing that it's a hipster marathon through a large city, you would be wrong, sorry. But urban runoff is either wet or dry weather. Wet weather is also known as rainwater. Dry weather can be something like sprinkler overspray. So it flows from the urban landscapes into storm drain systems, and those storm drain systems ultimately lead out to the ocean. So urban runoff carries contaminants, lots of contaminants, such as litter, food, human and animal waste, automobile fluids, industrial pollutants, fertilizers, and pesticides, all out to the beach. And it creates health risks for people. It actually kills marine life, and it contributes to localized flooding and even beach closures. So these storm drains that the water flows through are also where pollution accumulates during that dry weather season. And then it gets flushed out with each rainstorm. So essentially the highest amount of pollution that is being sent out to the beaches is going to be in that first 1 to 2 inches of rainfall that's flushing through the storm drains. So that's not cool. Once the water enters the storm drains, it actually goes into the storm drain systems. And once upon a time, these systems were called rivers and lakes. But now they're concrete channels that move billions of gallons of water during a storm, billions with a B. And some older cities still combine their sewer and storm drain systems and end up sending untreated sewage to the ocean with just 1/8 of an inch of rainfall. And we know here, we've all seen what can happen when you send untreated sewage among the other pollutants that I've mentioned out into the ocean. Yep, you get a guacamole coast. So when you really look at it, ocean-friendly gardens isn't necessarily just about butterfly gardens or even gardens in general. It's actually more about water quality, which is a huge proponent of what our chapter focuses on. So every single person on the planet needs clean water. You need to drink and to recreate in. So our program is more of like a simple, fun way to get communities more involved in their local decisions on water quality, and at least giving them a chance to have something actionable, like an action they can take on their own, even in their own homes, to work towards a better quality of water in your community. So, okay, we get why ocean-friendly gardens are important. But now let's get into the fun stuff, or my favorite part, how to actually plan and build out your ocean-friendly garden. So just like any project, you need to first look at your current yard space and evaluate what you got going on. You want to know what kind of runoff is happening, how porous and absorbent your soil is, and what type of plants you currently have planted in case they aren't native species. So first up, if your soil needs some help being a little more permeable or porous, then you want to address that first. The goal is to have living soil. Basically, your soil needs to have air, water, and food for the microorganisms that live inside to survive. Soil microorganisms create space for water to collect, and plants tap that water during dry times. They'll decompose pollutants, and when plants pull carbon from the atmosphere, the soil organisms will actually help lock up carbon in the soil. So one of the best ways to improve soil quality is to add compost to the top layer. That's awesome. Go Team Green. Once your living soil is established, you want to identify the impermeable surfaces and work on making them permeable. For instance, a lot of homes in this county have solid concrete driveways, and that just kind of helps rainwater run right down into the storm drain. It brings along with it car oils, trash, and any other pollutants that may be sitting in your driveway, maybe that key you lost a week ago. So the key here to really help with that issue or make it more permeable is to cut up the driveway into larger sections. So you're actually leaving these spaces for rainwater to kind of gather and then seep back into the soil. So that's just a suggestion for anyone who actually has a concrete driveway. I don't, but a lot of people do. But moving on, we made it to my favorite part, which is choosing your Florida native plant species. This to me is probably the most important aspect of the ocean-friendly garden, because I feel like you could still have a really permeable soil, you can have a really healthy living soil, and then be planting these plants that are not native and are going to require a bunch of fertilizers and maybe even pesticides, which are also going to contribute to that polluted runoff that's going to end up in the oceans or in our canals, maybe mixing together to create some blue-green algae blooms, things like that. So I feel like this really is a really fun but important focus of the garden. So when you're choosing your native plant species, you'll need to know what type of soil is in your area. So you kind of need to understand the hardiness zone, which is something that you can find easily online. I put up a link here for the planthardiness.ars.usda.gov. Maybe we can add that into the chat box too. But it's a really simple way to go and figure out what your zone hardiness is, what kind of soil is in your area, and then you'll know from there how to identify the plants that are going to survive on their own to be sustainable or self-sustaining within the area that you live. So you also want to keep in mind the amount of sun that these plants are going to need. So I have I have about 5 plants and bushes here that are native to Florida and are actually very popular here in Florida, South Florida, because they are so self-sustaining. You know, they're salt tolerant, they're used to being out in direct sunlight, they can handle sandy kind of environments if you're closer to the coast. So they're really resilient, and if you can see, they're very cute too. So we have first up firebush here, and I just learned from Penny earlier that hummingbirds really like firebush, so maybe you can get lucky, get some hummingbirds in your yard like Penny does. Next one up is inkberry. It's just a really pretty bush. You can use it as a decorative thing or just kind of fill in around a border. We have our beach sunflower. It's kind of obvious sunflower. Who doesn't like sunflowers? And then we have wild coffee here. I think is really cool because some parts of the season it'll actually have these kind of cherry looking, seeds on them, and then other times they don't, but it's unmistakable when you see wild coffee. So it's kind of cool to be like, yeah, I know that plant when I'm walking around. Maybe it's just me. And then there's moldy grass, which is something I just recently discovered is this beautiful kind of lavender looking grass that you can use as ground cover or as kind of like a replacement for the unnatural grasses people are putting down with their sod. I mean, look at it, it's beautiful. So I also have a reference up here in case you aren't really up with times of the native plants, you're not alone, it's fine. I have this URL up here that's floridayards.org. They actually have a plant database. So you can go into this database and you can pick out whatever, conditions that you have in your yard or where you're going to put your garden. And they'll actually allow you to search their database to find the plant that will fit best there. Well, I had a video that showed you. But if you go to floridayards.org and you click on the plant database link, you'll see all these options where you can put in the hardiness zone, the type of soil that you have, and what you're looking for. You can actually pin it down to even looking for just flowers if that's what you're interested in. So it's a good place to start if you're looking into getting an ocean-friendly garden made. But there's also local nurseries, which is also a better option for you because there's so many people who are in this area that are familiar with these native plants and they sell them at their own nurseries. You can actually walk into the nursery, speak to these master gardeners, and they can tell you all these tips on the best plants to use and also like kind of how to design it. You can't just take any plant or any flower and just plop it next to the other one, you're just going to have this wild looking thing. You know, you want to kind of have this kind of nice flow to your garden. So they'll help you with that too. So I highly suggest you go and visit your local nurseries and ask them for some advice and some guidance. I know that Meadow Beauty Nursery is kind of known for having these plans, these garden plans set up for everyone to kind of choose from or start from, and then they can design with you from there. We've personally worked with Native Choice Nursery with Jeff Nurge. He's a great guy. He knows exactly what he's talking about. He's patient when you don't know what you're talking about. So he's a great option. The only issue is I just talked to him yesterday, and the nursery is actually moving. So they're kind of in a transition period. You can't really visit them right in this moment, or probably for the next month, he said, but you can still email him or come in and speak to him, and at least you guys can start, you know, making a plan happen. So those are some good resources for you if you're looking for kind of plans and ideas on your own. But Surfrider is actually going to be part of this project if you'd like us to be. We usually focus mainly on the people power aspect. We'll bring this whole group of volunteers with us, come out to your property and help you actually dig in dirt and get this thing installed. But also, since we have connections with people like Jeff Nurge and we have connections with other nurseries around the county, we can also kind of plug you in with them and figure out where the best fit is and kind of be the third party, or like, you know, a friend that's coming to help you out with your garden. So if you guys need help with that, that's where we can come in, and our chapter can really help you out. We kind of call these garden assistance parties because who doesn't want to have a party? So we can get together with a bunch of volunteers, plant your garden for you, get you started on like the next steps. You know, it's kind of a dirty, long day, but you're having fun and you're with your friends, and then, you know, hopefully you get to have the beautiful garden in your front yard that's actually going to help with your water quality in your community. So if we take a look at a garden that was made by Surfrider. So this garden was made in California. So it's not going to be exactly the same plants that you'd see if you're walking around Florida, but the concept is still the same for how the ocean-friendly gardens work. And it was a huge success for this guy's front yard. So we are kind of zooming back in time to Ventura, California. This is around 2007, I think. And the owners had this front yard that was, you know, for all purposes, pretty. It was well kept, but it wasn't doing much for the local ecosystems, for the environment, or that river that is really close to their house. In fact, it's right across the street. So they contacted Surfrider and they asked, you know, what can we do? And it turns out they were starting their own process of putting down mulch. So they had the right idea to kind of put down the sheet mulching and get the program working, but they kind of stopped and didn't realize that you're also supposed to loosen the soil, you know, get that living soil we were talking about, and then add the water and the compost in. So, you know, they were kind of lost on what to do. So Surfrider stepped in and they explained to them, you know, we got to take this plan from the very beginning. We got to assess. You have an 800 square foot area in the front yard, and right now you're using 21,000 gallons a year just to water the grass, essentially. And that runoff and that green waste and that lack of wildlife habitat is doing nothing for, you know, the local environment. So they explain this idea of slowing down the water, like you can see here with these gutters here, and then allowing it to spread throughout the actual garden itself. And then while it spreads in those retention areas we saw earlier, it'll then have the opportunity to sink back down into the garden, and thus you water your plants without a whole lot of effort. So we also, our Surfrider also called in a professional once they realized, you know, we're going to need some help with this. And this guy in the center here helped out design the whole area, including those retention spots. So it wasn't just left up to the owner to figure it out, right? So he had these wonderful volunteers you see on the right-hand side here. They came for a garden assistance party, and they just started digging up the whole front yard, essentially, because if you can tell, even in this photo still, it's all very flat and on a slope. So they had to get in there and actually start digging up these high and low points and kind of creating them on their own. They also, luckily, got these stones that you see, these really beautiful stones on the left-hand side. Those were donated from a local nursery. So they had those, and they filled those into the bottom of those retention points where the water was going to seep into the ground. So it wasn't just working well as an ocean-friendly garden, it was also visually appealing. So this is the picture we saw earlier. It is this garden. The day after, actually, they had it installed, it rained. So it gave them a good opportunity to see how well their plan and their design worked for this ocean-friendly garden. And it turns out, not only did the garden cost the owner less than $5,000, thanks to the manual labor being all of Surfrider volunteers, but also thanks to a couple of donations from local nurseries that partnered with Surfrider, but is also holding about 3 to 4 inches of water in this garden. So that 21,000 gallons of water that he was using on the garden before is no longer, or at least has been, heavily decreased. Now it's a self-sustaining garden. And this is the view of it about a year after that. So you can see the plants, the flowers they planted are starting to really come in. You can see where the retention spots have naturally kind of formed peaks, up at top, and these really deep kind of valleys on the bottom. And then about 2 years later, it was fully grown in, beautiful. You can see the rocks are still there. They still have that way to retain the water. It's fully self-sustaining. And since they had Surfrider involved, they were able to get their sweet Surfrider ocean-friendly garden sign, and you can see it down there in the corner. So then you get bragging rights, who doesn't want bragging rights? So yeah, that's essentially what ocean-friendly gardens are, what they do for the environment, what they do for your community. And really the idea is conserving and recycling water. Everyone loves the 3 R's, you can throw that in there too. But you're also, more importantly, preventing that polluted urban runoff from infecting the oceans and our beaches. To me, it's pretty amazing to think that something as simple as a garden in your front or backyard is really doing all of that work, to really protect what we love, which is also something that Surfrider focuses on. So really now the only question that's left is, who's next?
Thank you so much, Jamie. That was a really great presentation. And I also want to mention a few of our programs that we have with the City of West Palm Beach that complement ocean-friendly gardens as well. I'm going to share my screen really quick. And it's doing like a double share, so I hope this actually works. There we go. All right. So I did want to mention that we also have, with the City of West Palm Beach Office of Sustainability, we have a native tree giveaway. So I know a lot of people in the chat box have been asking about native plants, and we give away native trees for free. So that's a great opportunity that you can take advantage of. Our program is for City of West Palm Beach residents and businesses only. The county, though, does have a program as well. So they have a native canopy program, and they have been doing vouchers. So it's a little bit different from our program. We actually have an online application system where you apply online, you choose the trees that you want. You can actually learn about the trees so you can know what you need for your space, for your yard, before picking up your trees. So you can select your trees beforehand. We'll load them onto our truck, and then we offer safe pickups. And our next tree giveaway is going to be on October 3rd. So that's the opening day of the Green Market in West Palm Beach. And if you are interested in getting free trees, I definitely recommend that you go to our website, wpb.org/10ktrees, and fill out your application today. Sometimes our programs, just in a matter of days, they get spread out so quickly, and we have a lot of applicants. So we definitely want to make sure that we have the trees for you. So get your application in as soon as possible if you are interested. But like I said, the county also has a program too. So they give away vouchers for native plants and trees. That's something else you can look into. I do believe they opened up their program not too long ago, but then had to close it due to the overwhelming response that they received. So just be on the lookout for that. I'll also drop, or if someone else can drop that link into the chat box. They have their own website as well. Oh, I forgot to play my little video. Can you guys see my video? There we go. Actually, sorry, I'm hoping you guys can see my screen. I just realized we were on Spotlight. So anyway, that's our native tree program. And we also have a rain barrel giveaway. So with the City of West Palm Beach Office of Sustainability, We also give away free 55-gallon rain barrels to City of West Palm Beach water customers. And our next giveaway for the rain barrel program will be on November 14th. So also this is a really popular program for us, so definitely encourage you to apply and register as soon as possible if you are interested. We do give one per household, and we used to have workshops in person, but due to COVID, we want to make sure that the process is safe for everyone. So we transitioned to virtual workshops, so you can watch everything online from the safety of your home. And we also have safe parking lot pickups as well. So it's a really easy process. You watch the workshop online, answer a few questions on a quiz. So we make sure that you actually have watched. During the virtual workshop, we cover important details such as safety precautions that you need to take when installing the rain barrel. So it's just really important to watch that workshop online. It isn't too long, so it won't take too much of your time. And again, we have our safe parking lot pickups. You literally just drive through at the location for that date, and we load it into your car for you. You don't even have to get out of your car. So that website is wpb.org/savewater, and many benefits to not trees and also for our rain barrels as well. So again, if you are interested, definitely go on the website and register. And to stay up to date on all of our programs, I encourage you all to visit our main page, wpb.org/green. We do have a sign up for our newsletter on there. I send out the newsletter 2 times every month, just with updates on programs like the one we're having today, and also other programs such as our rain barrels, tree giveaway. We right now have a spice packet promotion going on for meatless meals. So that's something really cool that you can apply for and receive as well. And we are also on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we are WPB Green, all one word, so you guys can find out more information and stay up to date on our social media too. So lots of ways to stay connected. I see there's a lot going on in the chat box here, so I'm gonna swing back over here. And does the county have a rain barrel giveaway? Not that I know of. But that is always something that I encourage you to reach out to the county or local municipality to let them know that you are interested in something or a similar program, because with local government, we really don't know what you want unless you let us know. So let's see, let me scroll back through here a little bit. All right, it looks like you guys have been sharing a lot of good links in there. I do want to get to some questions. If anyone has any questions for Jamie, please let me know. Any composting tools available? So I would recommend visiting Let It Rot's website. Laura, I don't know if you're able to pull that up and drop that in there. Does the city have a compost bin giveaway? That's a really good question. We are actually working on a kitchen compost pail giveaway, and we don't have them ready to go yet, but we will have those coming soon. So again, that's a good way, subscribe to our newsletter so you can stay up to date with those types of programs, but that is something that we are working on. But Let It Rot is a really great resource, and she's kind of local. She's, I think, in Palm Beach Gardens. Is that right, Jamie? Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter area?
Jupiter. Mm-hmm.
Jupiter, yeah. But she does do a residential and commercial pickup for composting. So even in West Palm Beach.
Only $10 a month too. It's awesome.
So
I'm thinking about doing it, so you should do it.
It is a really great program. I mean, she provides all the resources for you. She comes and picks it up. All you have to do is put it out for her. So I definitely encourage you to contact Mel about that. And I wanted to get to some of the other questions we had as well, because you guys gave us some really great comments in your registrations. Let's see. So someone asked, planting west of 95. And we weren't really sure exactly what was meant by this. So if you were on the meeting right now, please chime in. But if you're asking if west of 95 means that, it's too far away from the ocean, so you shouldn't have to worry about it, that's false. The canal systems, our waterways still connect even west of 95. So building an ocean-friendly garden into your property is definitely still important. A lot of you have asked about native plants, and I think we've answered those throughout our program today, but I do want to mention that we have another Friday program coming up on November 6th. It's called Naturescaping for Wildlife. And again, if you subscribe to our newsletter or follow us on social media, you'll see that information come up closer to the November 6th date, but it'll be same time, 12 to 1 p.m. And we will cover a lot of gardening tips there. So someone asked about natural pesticides, and I am not well versed in pesticides. Jamie, do you have any recommendations, or Michael, you handle the
chat box and plantrealflorida.org/professionals, and it has a list. It actually has a map, and a list of every single native plant nursery that's in Florida in general, but you can zoom into your area and it can give you exact information, numbers to call, addresses, and you can direct your questions to them too.
Yes, that is a really good resource. I had actually dropped that in earlier, so great minds think alike, Jamie.
It's a great tool. I can't believe how much information is on one page. I'm like, yes, this is easy.
So Penny chimed in. No, it's okay. Neem oil or insecticidal soap are good natural pesticides, so I would definitely look into that. Michael and Penny are definitely more familiar with the pesticides than I am, so I don't want to give any wrong recommendations there. Yeah. And let's see, where are other questions? Programs for schools, do you want to address that, Jamie?
So our Surfrider chapter doesn't really have like a club that's within a school that's focused on gardens, but we do have a youth club in general that kind of addresses all of our programs. So we come in and we give an introductory kind of overview on what Surfrider is, and then the kids decide which program or campaign they want to create based on a program, and they get to run with it. We maintain a resource for them, and we come in and we participate in any kind of, in-class presentations or events that they want to do, but otherwise we're pretty hands-off. If there's a teacher who wants to get involved or a mentor of some type, and the kids in the class, while they're in class or after school, they want to discuss ways they can, run this program. It's up to them. And most of the youth clubs that we've had, mainly in California, are really heavily involved in beach cleanups. They seem to really like that. They do a lot of art projects. Kids love to draw, and art's important. So they've actually done recently, in the last 5 years recently, I've heard of these kids that are doing sewer drain paintings, like right on the storm drains, the very top part. And I know our chapter was really excited. We were trying to work with Melissa McCrannels and a bunch of other volunteers down in West Palm Beach just before COVID came around. We were trying to get a program involved, or we'd get like maybe 10 of those sewer drains painted. But we really do want to work with the school kids on that. It's like a perfect program for them. So that's just an idea of how you could get Ocean Friendly Gardens involved with kids in these youth clubs through Surfrider.
Definitely. And just want to mention again that we do provide free rain barrels to City of West Palm Beach schools as well. So if you're interested in that, always, contact us, let us know. We've been sharing our website pretty frequently, but I'm going to drop it in here again. Are there any more questions for Jamie? Well, we have her. She is here to answer all of your questions about ocean-friendly gardens. Surfrider, as she mentioned in the beginning, they have many other programs outside of just ocean-friendly gardens. So I do encourage you to really look at their website too, which I will drop the link in here again for you guys.
One last thing I do want to mention, if we don't have any more questions, Ocean Friendly Gardens is a fun program. It really is. It's one of my favorites. I just, I'm into using, actual tools, digging, using my hands, being in the soil, all that good stuff. And then being able to design the gardens, it's all great, and it's all for the same cause, which is, water quality, focusing on the water quality. But I also want people to understand that we use this kind of information we gather from these community gardens, from these residential gardens. Hopefully you become a volunteer after we have a garden planted into, your front yard. It'd be great to keep you on board with our chapter, so that we can take this to our city councils, and we can take the information we're gathering to even our county commission, and show them how important it is to these communities that we have clean water, that are flowing through our taps, flowing from our gardens, flowing out into the ocean. It's all important. And also to show them how there are these kind of simple solutions to encouraging these kind of clean water projects. So it's not all just fun and games, is what I'm trying to say. We do have fun, and that's a very important part in our chapter. We try to maintain the fun meter, but it all comes down to we are looking for policy change.
Right, yes. That is definitely very important. And I did want to, I meant to mention it when I was talking about the rain barrels, but even if, a lot of people think about rain barrels as water conservation and needing a rain barrel during a dry period. But even though it is, even if we are getting the rains, it's always really good to capture that roof runoff that you have. And you do not have to have a gutter system in order to have a rain barrel. So within our presentation, the workshop that I mentioned before, we do go over that. So, really, if you have any questions at all about, either Surfrider's programs or our programs, we're both here. We're friendly people. Definitely reach out to us, and we would be happy to help. That's really what we're here for.
Sure.
And I don't see any other comments. So I think with that, we will just wrap it up. I would just want to say thank you again to everyone who has joined us today. I see the compost bin giveaway just came up again. But as I mentioned, just subscribe to our newsletter. We are going to have a kitchen compost pail giveaway in the future. So subscribe to our newsletter. Also, our social media, WPB Green, we'll be putting more information out once those are ready to go. We don't have them ready just yet, but stay tuned. We will have them. But again, thank you all, and thank you, Jamie with Surfrider. We really appreciate you being with us today and sharing all of the wonderful programs that Surfrider has going on. We have so many great resources in West Palm Beach and in the county, and we hope that through these Friday programs, you all learn more about them and can really reach out to us and find more resources that you can take advantage of. So thank you, and I will sign off now. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday, and hopefully we'll see you again Friday. Bye.